If you want a business that can scale, you're going to need SOPs, checklists and documents, the written instructions that will be used to train and manage employees so things are done consistently and correctly. But creating too many, it tends to be counterproductive. So in this presentation, I want to explore when and how to develop playbooks for your business. We've seen people try to create playbooks for everything in their business. They'll make tons of documents, checklists, videos, and here's where a lot of business owners get it wrong. They have hundreds of playbooks. They're saved all over the place in all different formats, and no one can find what they're looking for. And no one wants to really document an SOP because it takes time, and they're busy doing whatever it is that they do. They already know how to do it, so why should they take the time to write it down? And then, if you get all of your processes documented, after all of that time and effort and frustration, no one is using them. The truth is, you only need playbooks for the key areas of your business. And to help you figure out when it's worth creating a process or writing a playbook, ask yourself these 4 simple questions. Number 1, how critical is this task? If a mistake in doing the task could cause problems, could mess things up in your business, it's probably wise to write a simple step-by-step playbook. Number 2, does this task take more than 5 minutes? If it's something that regularly takes more than 5 minutes to complete, chances are you'll benefit from having a playbook for it. If it only takes a few minutes to explain it to somebody, you probably don't need to write it down. Number 3, will you have to do this task more than once? Look, if it only happens once, it's not a process, it's a project. If it's something that's going to come up repeatedly, and it always takes more than 5 minutes or so, then that's another sign that it should be documented. And finally, the 4th question, do you hate doing the task, or should someone other than you be doing it? If the answer is yes, and you want to hand it off to someone else in your business, then you definitely need a playbook for it. These are fairly simple questions to answer. Let's explore them, though, in just a little bit more depth. Question number 1, is this a critical task? I actually recommend erring on the side of not writing an SOP, but if the task is fairly complex, people are frequently making mistakes, they don't pick up the task quickly when they're being trained, or if there's some financial, legal, or reputational risks associated with making a mistake, it's probably a good idea to get the playbook documented. An unhappy customer is many, many times more impactful to your company than a happy customer. Question number 2, how long does it take to explain how to do the task? If the task is super simple, if it only takes a few minutes to train someone how to do it, chances are you probably don't need documented instruction. However, if you find that employees are still getting it wrong after they've been trained, well, then you can take the time to get that playbook written. Question number 3, how often is the task done? As I said earlier, if it's only done once, you don't need a playbook. It's not a process, it's a project. On the other hand, if it's a fairly complex task that happens time and time again, documenting the steps is super valuable. If your team performs the task daily, the process will be used for training and managing. Now, once they've done it a bunch of times, they probably won't need to refer to the playbook as long as they're achieving the expectations that you have of them. On the other hand, if the task is something that's done monthly, quarterly, or annually, it's great to have that documentation so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. 4th question, should someone other than you be doing this task? If you've ever heard yourself saying something like, it'll take me so long to teach someone else how to do this, I might as well do it myself, that is when you need to document the instructions. Get it out of your head and put it in the hands of someone else. Or if you're doing something that you would consider to be low value work, payroll, for example, receivables, payables, handling customer questions, these are processes other people in your organization should be doing, not you. And you need to delegate that work. And if you don't document how you want it done, if you don't train someone, walk them through the documentation showing them how it needs to be done, if you're just telling them what to do, what we call the tribal method of training, then you're abdicating your responsibility. And chances are they're not going to get it right. So as you go through your day, be mindful. When you have a task, ask yourself, Is this a task that, if done incorrectly, could mess things up in my business? Does this take more time than, say, 5 minutes? Am I going to do this more than once? Do I really hate doing this? Or should someone else in my business take it over? If you answer yes to any of these questions, it's probably a playbook that's worth creating. When you're creating playbooks, keep things simple. Focus on what matters. Don't waste time documenting everything. Instead, focus on processes that will actually save you time, make you money, and help you delegate tasks more effectively. And keep your playbooks current with annual reviews. You're going to find that the way things are done it's going to change imperceptibly over time. Little, hardly noticeable changes will accumulate, and all those little changes cumulatively may make the playbook you created no longer current. And it's frustrating when you go to train a new employee and the playbook you used to train that new employee is out of date. That's no longer how you do it. And lastly, accessibility. You need a tool that's designed for process implementation. Word, Google Docs, Loom, PowerPoint, Excel, these are all great tools for document sharing. They are not designed for process implementation. These applications will lead you into a state of what we like to call SOP chaos. Processes are saved all over the place in all different formats, and no one can find what they're looking for. The TouchStone Business System is your process implementation tool that gets exactly the right processes into the hands of exactly the right people, exactly when they need them, simplifying the training and managing of your team and making it easy to scale your business with consistency and control. You can get a free trial of TouchStone at www.businessdesigncorp.com. Thank you.